Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're digging into a really fascinating study that asks a huge question. Can our deepest held beliefs about right and wrong actually be changed by a single university course? So let me just ask you, do you think your core sense of morality is kind of fixed, just part of who you are? Or do you think it could be changed if you were given the right tools? Well, a group of researchers decided to find out for real. And they didn't just do a quick poll. They ran an experiment that lasted for 7 years. Okay, so let's get into the details of how they actually set up this pretty ambitious experiment. And this was no small sample size. Over those 7 years, they gathered surveys from 3,454 nursing students. All of them were taking the same required online ethics course. The method itself was actually pretty simple. And that's what makes it so smart. They surveyed students about their ethical beliefs before the course started, and then they asked them the exact same questions right after it ended. Now, the course was designed to build a new way of thinking, piece by piece. First up, students learned the basics of logic, how to form a real, valid argument. Then they dove into the major ethical theories throughout history. And finally, they had to apply all of that to messy, real-world medical dilemmas. One of the key ideas the researchers were tracking is something called simple subjectivism. It sounds fancy, but it's really just the gut feeling approach to morality. The idea that when we say something is wrong, all we're really saying is, I have a negative feeling about that. So, after 7 years and thousands of surveys, what did they find? Did the course actually do anything? Let's get to the results, because this is where it gets really good. The data showed a few different shifts in how students were thinking, but there was one change that was just massive. It stood out way above everything else. And it all came down to this one single statement. This is basically the core belief of simple subjectivism put into plain English. Now, before the course, get this, a huge majority, 63% of the students, they agreed with this. They felt that, their personal feelings were the best guide to figuring out right from wrong. But after the course, the numbers did a complete 180. They totally flipped. Now, a new majority, 51%, disagreed with that statement. That is a gigantic shift away from just trusting your gut. So what does a flip like that really mean? Well, it's more than just people changing an opinion. It suggests a fundamental change in how they approach moral questions altogether. And this gets to the absolute core of the study. The course was successful because it managed to get students to shift away from just relying on their initial feelings, and instead, to start using reason and logical thinking to work through these complicated ethical issues. So, that big shift from feelings to reason, that was pretty much what the researchers expected to see. But when they dug a little deeper into the data, they found something else, a little surprise they weren't expecting. And to understand it, we need another quick definition: psychological egoism. This is the theory that deep down, every single human action, no matter how selfless it looks on the outside, is really just motivated by self-interest. And here is the twist. While the course successfully made students less likely to rely on their feelings, it also made them more likely to believe in psychological egoism. So in a way, learning to think so critically about ethics also made them a little more cynical about why people do good things in the first place. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second and think about what all of this really tells us about learning and morality and even ourselves. I mean, this one study gives us some pretty powerful evidence. It shows our moral beliefs are not fixed. It shows that education really can teach people to reason instead of just react. It shows that digging into ethics can uncover some unexpected things about how we see the world. And hey, it also shows that online learning can be a really effective way to teach even these super complex, abstract ideas. So why does this matter? Because it proves that structured learning can do so much more than just give us information. It can fundamentally reshape our entire perspective on the world. And the big takeaway here is actually a really hopeful one. It means we aren't just stuck with the beliefs we start out with. It proves that we have the power to learn and to grow and to refine our own moral compass throughout our entire lives. Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If one online class can so fundamentally alter something as personal as our ethics, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other deeply held beliefs are we capable of re-examining, questioning, and maybe even unlearning?